It's a sensational disclosure on the Kashmir exodus truth. A serving general, KJS Dhillon, has come out and spoken about how 90% of the majority remained silent when one particular community was being targeted, and in the process has shamed Islamists. Listen into this comment.
Talking of a history which I have been witness to. And the date I am talking is 19th January 1990. I was a young captain in North Kashmir in district Kupwara, not deployed on the line of control, but in the hinterland. I have seen the happenings of that day, few days prior, and some days later. And of course, 31 years which have passed by. Now, in any conflict or in any disagreement or in any area where ideas don't match, there is a percentage of population which is acted against. There is a percentage of population which acts against that population. They are in single digit. A single digit population was prosecuted. A single digit population, or if you add their sympathizers and all, may merely make it to few percents. They prosecuted the atrocities. Now, 85 to 90% of the silent majority, so-called silent majority, where were they? Where were they on 19th of January 1990? Where were they in 2010? Where were they in 2016? And I can count n number of dates in the history. And where were they in the month of October 2021? Or where are they? They, the silent majority, otherwise are very loud voices at times. And we can name them. But where were they in the history of Kashmir? That is my first point. And what happened on 19th of January 1990? And thereafter, who suffered? Kashmiri Pandits were made to leave the country or leave the state of Jammu and Kashmir, as very well elaborated by the Chinar Corps commander just now. What happened? It's not the Kashmiri Pandits who left. A portion of soul of Kashmir left.
Let's go across to Pradeep Datta for more on the story. Pradeep, this is a huge revelation coming in from a person who was on the ground. He was serving at that time. He's still serving now, and he is talking about how the silent majority, the silence of the majority really led to the persecution of Hindus in the Kashmir Valley in 1990.
Yes, general in uniform who had also been the former GOC 15 Corps, and that at that point of time in early 90s, he was a young captain who was posted in hinterland in Kupwara area. He has not only exposed Pakistan, but he has also shamed all those Islamist radicals who at behest of Pakistan had carried out hate agenda against particular community, because of which more than 5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits had to abandon their hearths and home because they started targeting them. And what is more important is that he has questioned criminal silence of majority of Kashmir Valley, that why the majority population had been silent over this issue, why they did not speak out at that point of time, why they started carrying forward that hate agenda and that false narrative that was unleashed from across the border. And he said even the silent majority was silent during 2016 also, when life came to screeching halt after killing of Burhan Wani. At that point also, they were trying to justify and glorify terrorists like Burhan Wani, and nobody was questioning that how this man had been luring youngsters and making them join terror ranks. And the same thing is happening in 2021. Nothing seems to have changed at this point of time also. The silent majority and the civil society is not coming out and speaking out against terror-related activities that is taking place, especially killing of the minority community member, whether it's a non-Kashmiris, Pani Puri Wala, all those people have been targeted, but they are not coming out and they are not speaking out. This silence is criminal silence, and that is really going to cause dear to people of Jammu and Kashmir. He said it was not the exodus of the Kashmiri Pandits. Basically, Kashmir lost its soul. Why he's saying Kashmir lost its soul? Because they were part of that composite culture. And what Pakistan did with the help of this AK-47 that they had smuggled into Kashmir Valley, they were able to tear apart.
I'd like to thank you for joining us. We'll have to leave it there for the moment. I want to quickly take this across to our guests. I want to first go across to Amit Raina, who's with us. Amit, this is a very, very important statement coming in from a serving general, because he's comparing the situation that existed in 1990 to what's happening now, and actually coming out and saying that those who are silent at this point of time are actually criminal in nature, in the sense that they are actually allowing for this kind of perpetration of violence to take place of one particular community.
I see the people who were silent, and that's the majority community of the Kashmir, which was silent in 1990 on the ethnic cleansing and genocide of Kashmiri Pandits, being silent again. In 1990, they came with a theory to justify the ethnic cleansing, saying that it was Jagmohan who did it. I don't know who they are going to find Jagmohan now. The problem is, even today, the silent majority is the collaborator to the killings, to the exodus of the people who are working in Kashmir Valley from other states. And this silence is nothing but a collaboration to what is happening today. Even today, most of the people who are condemning the act which is happening in Kashmir today are not condemning it because innocent people are being killed. People in the name of religion are being killed. They are condemning, oh, it will impact our economy, it will impact the labor which we have available there. That's the mindset that Kashmir has. They do not value the lives of any human being. They do not value the life of kafir. They only value that it may impact the economic situation or economic condition. It may impact tourism which is coming to Kashmir. That's the sad part of it. And I honestly believe that if you are silent, if you do not oppose killing of innocents in the name of religion, in the name of jihad, you are an active collaborator.
Let me take that question across to Sajjad Tariq. Sajjad Tariq, direct question coming in. Why is it so difficult to come out and say that these are killings that are happening on the basis of religion? If these are communal in nature, why not call a spade a spade? Why is it so difficult for leaders and citizens to come out and do so?
You see, everyone has condemned these brutal acts. Like, there were 4 to 5.
But you've not called them communal killings, sir. That is exactly the problem.
I'm telling you, let me allow to speak. Meri baat to suno. Let me allow to speak. These targeted killings, right? 4, 5, 6 targeted killings in last 1 month. Everybody has condemned it. All social fronts, all people, irrespective of caste, color, and creed. With this fact, there was one more thing which I added in the last debate also, that there are 24 Muslims who were killed. Like out of these 30 killings, 24 were Muslims. No,
Sir, let's not get into whataboutery here. Let's not get into whataboutery. If there is killing that is happening of people from outside of the state, if there is killing happening of people of one particular religion, call it communal killing, sir. Why is it so difficult?
Why? Listen to me. What I'm telling you is,
you answer me first, Mr. Tariq. Why is it so difficult to say that this is a communal killing? That people are being targeted in the name of their religion. Why is it so hard to say that? Why does there have to be this justification of so many people who are Hindus and so many Muslims were killed? Why?
80% of the killings in last 1 month, they are Muslims. Why don't you agree to it?
No.
Sir, my dear sir, has it happened in the past that people who are not from the state were targeted in this particular manner? And isn't it a fact that this is a new trend that is happening only in a bid to try and create more terror?
You see, this is what I myself also am condemning it, that this is a terror act. Who says that it is not a terror act?
Amit Raina.
But we need to understand.
No, see, this is exactly the problem. They say, oh, they come and say, we condemn. A state which has a fatwa, which has an opinion on what people should drink, what people should eat, what people should wear, and these buggers come out and support the fatwas which come from the mosque. I haven't heard a single cleric coming and issuing a fatwa against a terror organization.
All right, Amit Raina as well as Sajjad Tariq, we'll have to leave it there for the moment. We're going to slip into a very quick break.